Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Conscious Creators ToolBox. It's Thursday, May the 4th. Cinco de Mayo's tomorrow. Anyway, welcome to the Thursday, May 4th, 2023 session of the Conscious Creators ToolBox. Welcome. Welcome to our YouTube channel. And I hope, if you haven't subscribed to us yet, I hope that you will consider being a subscriber. Like us, comment, give us a thumbs up, a thumbs down. Thumbs down requires a comment to follow, though. We don't mind those thumbs down because we always want to, you know, do better, be better. And we want to hear how we're doing so we'll know how to proceed going forward. Anyway, I'm going to turn this down. I was listening to a little music. We have no rights to that music. And I just want to let, you know, the monitors understand that. We know that we have no rights to the music, but we like to listen to music. It's part of our keeping our vibration going and keeping ourselves in the flow. Music is a universal language, and we like to enjoy it. Anyway, welcome to the night's edition. I'm looking at my camera, and I keep seeing orbs go by. Orbs are lurking around in my little studio room tonight. So I don't know who that might be. Been hearing a lot from my ancestors lately, and my spirit guides are always somewhere nearby, monitoring and just being close by. So I keep seeing an orb kind of buzz, or maybe it's dust. I don't know. Anyway, but again, welcome to the Thursday night's edition of the Conscious Creators ToolBox. We know we come every Thursday night. We're here for about 30 minutes to maybe an hour, just looking at our creativity, our creative powers, our creative skills, our creative know-how. We like to examine our creative tools. We have many creative tools and at our access and at our disposal and available to us to create. We use them to manifest and create our realities in our lives. We are the creators of our destinies. We're responsible for all that we experience. We're also responsible for those things that we wish to experience and we do not experience. And that's where our creativity kind of comes in. Well, understanding our creativity comes in to be of use and help for us to do that, because we want to know what we're doing. We're aware, awakening in conscious manifest as creators and beings in the third dimension. And most of us enjoy being here, love being a part of this dimension, the physical realm. And while we're here, we want to have the best life that we can have. And we want to experience everything that we can have. Some people call this the schoolhouse, our opportunity to schoolhouse or the playground. We come here to play. And I guess it's according to how you look at it. Life can be a big play of one scene after another, one series, one chapter after another, one story after another, one event experience after another that kind of ties together, and it makes our lives, makes who we are. So that's what Creators ToolBox attempt to help or provide information, provide understanding, identify what our creativity powers and our creative abilities, what they consist of, that creativity, that all part of us, because we're natural born creators. We're created by our creator, our source, God, Father, divine, the creator. We were created out of the same stuff of creation, and that's energy. And we can do and we can have and we can be all that our creator can do and have and be. Our creator holds back nothing from us. We inherited all that Father has, all that God has. God, Father, he, it, I don't know. I stumble over those pronouns all the time. But whatever it is that God has, God makes it available for us. God makes everything available for us. God created this wonderful universe and wonderful world and wonderful earth and this planet and all the planets and all the cosmos, everything that's created by creator. And creation is the source. That's That's the stuff. And we're made out of the same stuff. We're all one. We are one with creation, one with creator. We all one in the same, made out of the same stuff, you know. So remember who you are. One of the things that I like to do every week is to remind you who you are. And I just told you that you are creator, created by your source, your creator God, out of creation, and have the same powers and abilities, and you can do all that creator can do. And always remember that. Anyway, that's what conscious creators. That's what the Conscious Creators ToolBox is all about on Thursday, and that's what I enjoy doing. I am Jean Aaron, also known as the Conscious Creator, co-creating with you and the universe and whomever else want to partner or co-sponsor, co-create something or manifest something. I'm down for it. I'm down with that. Down with it. So tonight, and just like every Thursday, we come in. We're looking at some creativity, some part of our creativity, and over the next few sessions, the next few series sessions, we're going to be talking about the series on ego and our mind. Ego, and because ego is part of that. Ego is that personality. I think I told on the first session we had in regards to that's the series ego. We talked about ego was actually the very first personality, very first part of us, part of ourselves that we got to know very quickly and very, just as a matter of fact. Ego made ego self known to us. When that baby looked in that mirror, and the baby looked and said, who is that? What's going on there? And ego said, that's you. Or maybe he said, maybe ego said, that's me. That's I. I don't know. I don't know what ego says. I just remember when I think about that moment that baby's, mind clicked in, and trying to separate itself from everything that the baby was seeing and experiencing around and about its little habitat and its little domain in those first few weeks or months of his life, and trying to determine, what is this, where am I, who are you? And like you look familiar to me. There's something about you that looks familiar. And so ego said, that's me, that's you. So anyway, so ego, we're talking about ego, but we're also, I kind of ventured off a little bit because I wanted to remind you, as part of who you are, is that there was a time before ego. And we kind of ventured off into that time before ego. And we're still going to talk a little bit about that, because understanding that there was life before ego. And yeah, ego is a tool. Ego is one of our tools that we use to navigate and to manifest and to experience our lives in this dimension. But there was a time before ego. There was a time before ego, and I want that to be very clear to us as manifestors and as creators, because absolutely everything about us is a tool, is part of our creativity, and we can access, and we can kind of tune into those attributes of ourselves and characteristics of ourselves that we think may be something that's way out of our control. But there's absolutely everything about you is within your control. All of your senses, all of your thoughts, and your ideas that you come up with, the decisions that you make, the words that you speak, all of those are part of creating your thought pattern and your thought processes. Those are all part of what you need, what you use, what you utilize as creators and as manifestors and co-creators, and in creating your experiences that you have here. And ego is no different. Ego may want to kind of have you think and believe that ego has knows the best, knows best for you. But no, 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 no. Ego may know best, but you get to decide whether you are going to take hold of whatever it is that ego has to say, or you're going to, instruct the ego to just kind of back off a little bit, and let's see, let me just kind of think about this and weigh that out a little bit, ego. And I understand, I hear you. You want to save the day. You want to protect me. Well, you know what? I may not need that protection right now. I don't want that kind of protection. You get to decide. You get to tell ego that. Anyway, talking about ego, but we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to continue talking about the your life, your being, your beingness before ego kicked in. So that is what we're going to call. We call that is the mind before ego, and that's called the beginner's mind. And for me, that beginning, that beginning of ego, when ego, like I said, kicked in, I kind of, from that point on, for me anyway, I get so confused with pronouns, and I never know quite how to introduce myself sometimes, and especially in context to others. I know that you're an I am, and you're right, and I'm an I am, and my right, but when we're together, is my I am the same as your? I just get confused, and should I call you a he or she, or should I say they or we, or how that those pronouns get, when as soon as the ego introduced himself, herself into my world. I'm telling you, and as I become more aware and more awakened, I just have to scratch my head sometime. And well, she's I am too, and I am, and I'm and me, and then myself and me, myself, and I'm, like, come on, come on. And then you throw this thing, that creator, with all the titles and names that we give creator, and then we have to, talk about creator as if creator was a person. Creator's not a man or a woman, or a thing, but what do you call a creator? What do you call God? So I get kind of confused. I know I call him a he. When I was a little girl, creator was known as God was known as this man that was, sitting high over the clouds, and this big throne, and this magnificent, palace, like celestial palace, and all of that. So I kind of got tossed into that arena, thinking that God was some some something separate from myself. And now I know that that's not true. God is, I'm forever and always connected and a part of. We're one and the same. And I know my grandmother she tried to help us understand that growing up, and no, no, no. I kind of, today I'm still confused. I still don't know whether to, when I'm talking, referring to God, referring to Father, referring to Mother, or what what do you say? Because God is not a man or a human being or a dog or a cat or this or that. God is all of that. God is everything. So do I call God all? And then when I say all, do you understand that I'm meaning, the sum total of the source itself, including me, including you, including every I am there is. Because God said, when God said, or when God spoke and created all of this, and then we start inquiring of God and say, well, what do I call you? What do I say? I'm out here, passing on information that you've directed me to pass on. Who do I say? Who do I say told me to do this? And God instructed, say, I am. I am. I am sent you. I am told you what to do. I am told you this. So, you get, come on, tell me that does not get confusing in the conversations. All right. It gets confusing in the conversations. And we tend to want to defend it, because I want to defend my concept and my idea, my thing of how I see God. And you that your I am want to do the same. So hello. Let's just, let's lay down all the labels. Let's lay down all the stuff, and let's just say all that I am. That's that I am. Okay. And you are, I am, I am. We both I am. Okay. So that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Anyway, Let me climb out of this rabbit hole before I get too deep. Because I tend to wander into that rabbit hole trying to figure out how to kind of refer to myself or my I am or your, I'll be there all day long trying to figure that out. So let me just climb on out and get started for today. Anyway, last session I gave you an idea of what life must have been like as in a beginner's mind, and so some of those attributes that I gave you to kind of define or describe your life before ego kicked in or mind kicked in and help you identify that other aspect of you, of that I am. That's your I amness. Anyway, some of those attributes, I'm going to kind of rattle them off and remind you of them. A beginner's mind doesn't have any expectations, preconceived notions, or past experiences to limit their view of life, of everything. So that little fresh little baby mind, it was just full of quizzes, questions. What's that? What's that? What did I hear? What is that I'm feeling? What is that? What's going on with my mouth here? I gotta, what's happening with my body? What is this? What's going on down there? What? That's all the baby could just sweat. He had no reference or no background or no past to start, comparing it to. Not until mind clicked in and ego came along and said, yeah, that's them. And this is you. This is us. This is me. This me. They start, helping the baby recognize the separateness of himself or herself from the rest of the everything, rest of all that there is. Okay. And another thing is, it's a beginner's mind is open to everything. Babies are open to everything. They don't know anything. They don't know what is what. So they're just, they're ready, the little sponges ready to soak it all up. And hopefully they have loving and caring parents and caregivers and folk in their lives to help them understand in the best possible way they can. I believe that all mothers and fathers do absolutely the best that they can. I don't care what limitations they may have or restrictions they may have or disabilities that they may have. I think that all parents want and desire the best and provide the best care that they know how to provide to their children. So I believe that, that's what that's the parents kind of navigate those first few years of their lives. And there's that old saying that, give me a child for seven years and I'll give you the man. And that's pretty much what's happening with that baby, because those first 7 years are formative years, and that's when they're soaking it all up, answering all those questions without hesitation and without disbelief, because as far as they know, everything that's said to them is, I saw that orb go, another orb, that orb go by again. All that they know, I mean, you say what they believe you. They believe what you say. I know for me, growing up, and probably I'm gonna kind of go on a limb and say for my sisters and my brother as well, we were told all types of wonderful things about life and people and experiences that we would have, and what this was about and what that was about and what this was, how we were supposed to act here and behave in that way. We understood that and we respected that and we followed that, and we took those to be the foundation of who we are. So anyway, another attribute of a beginner's mind is, it means, a beginner's mind means that we look at every situation that we're in, we look at it as if we're seeing it for the very first time. And a beginner's mind, even after I've been here, it's all the years that I've been here, I can still demonstrate, or I can still open my eyes or go into a situation and see that situation as if I'm seeing it for the first time. So a beginner's mind, and that's what a beginner's mind. You go in with no preconceived ideas, no, just questions, just curiosity and questions. Another attribute of a beginner's mind is it has access to a world of possibilities. All right. When you are an empty vessel, you can just pour so much in you. But if you are a vessel that knows a little bit or knows a lot of bit or whatever, you've already, you've got something in that bucket or in that vessel. So you can only get so much more in. But an open mind, a beginner's mind, empties that every morning they wake up. It's a new morning, it's a new day, and the vessel is empty and ready for the ready to be filled for today. So when a beginner's mind, that beginner's mind is open and empty and waiting for all the possibilities. It is not restricted by the possibilities that it already knows or have available to them. Even, yeah, you can still do this. I'm telling you. Trust me, we can do this. And we're going to talk about how we can do this even today, even after living 50, 60, 30, 40, 20, whatever years, number of years we've lived. We can still cultivate and we can still restore our minds to that beginner's mindset status or state. So we're going to talk about that tonight. But another one of the things that a beginner's mind is, and the thing again, a thing about a beginner's mind when it's open and empty and ready and ready to soak up, it doesn't have it doesn't it doesn't have any. mm, It acts like it's just new. It acts like everything is just new. And it understands, a beginner's mind understands that you can't possibly know everything there is to know about anything. That's something that a beginner's mind knows, that they understand that. And everything that there is that's presented to them, every situation, every experience, every person that comes, there is so much more to know about them that they make room for. They just push aside what they already know. And they want to just add more. Just give me more information. Now tell me more about yourself. Tell me more about how this particular gadget works, or tell me more about your beliefs on this matter, or what your thoughts are on that. Because I don't know about you, but my thoughts are endless. They go on and on and on like a freaking train. That's with the endless number of cars. They're just one thought after another, and that's how we are. So we produce thoughts and ideas and just all the time. So, but that information is evolving. It's never really, everything changes. Everything is evolving and changing in and about us. So just as soon as you learn everything that you could learn about a thing, you go to sleep and you wake up the next morning, that thing is somewhat different. So what's different about it? So an open mind is open and acceptable to the differences, and don't discount them, don't discredit them when something is different or something maybe a little bit more contrasting of what they already knew. Oh, okay, let's see how this works together. So that's an open mind, or a beginner's mind. And a beginner's mind will not see, this is something too, I think, that I kind of talked about a little bit about last week, that a beginner's mind will not see right or wrong. It will not see right or wrong. To a beginner's mind, there's no such thing as right or wrong. They approach every problem, every situation. They approach not to see whether it's right or wrong, but they approach it just as something new or different to discover. All right. So a beginner's mind, when you are a person with a beginner's mind, your ego is very, very quiet, because ego is going to help you brag about and be adamant about and opinionated about absolutely everything about your life. That's what ego's going to do. And ego is going to have you stepping right up and jumping in somebody's face and defending everything you know about a thing, because ego ego has to be right. All right. And you have to be wrong. If anybody's going to be wrong, it's going to be the other person. Ego is not going to, ego don't bow too much to being wrong. Okay. Ego believes in wrong. So the person, when you demand right or wrong or whatever, then that is ego talking. Straight up ego. Ego, for a beginner's mind, you're going to have a quiet ego. right? It requires that we have an ego. And how do you know? How do you know when you have a quiet ego? Well, first of all, it's not blabbing in your ear and trying to tell you to step up and tell somebody off or run from this problem or no, that's how it is. And you ain't got to change. You make them change. You don't have to, that's ego, all right? But a quiet ego is a person who feels connected to everything. Ego wants you to be separate. That's the first thing ego wanted you to know. That's them and this is us. All right. That's mom, that's dad, that's sister, that's brother, that's them. This is us. This is us. Just me and you. Me and you. Okay. So ego wants you to believe that you're not connected to everything. Ego wants you to be time conscious and always, rushing around and worried about what time it is and who's late and how and you're late and you're trying to get, because you got to be first. You got to be right. Ego wants you to be right. Wants you to be right. No, don't get me wrong. You need ego. You need ego, but you need a quiet ego. Okay, you need a quiet ego. So a quiet ego is a person. A sign that you have a quiet ego is that you feel connected, even though that little voice inside of you will try to convince you that you're not. But you feel it. You feel that connection, and when you feel it so adamantly, you then and there's no question about it, and there's no not that orbs are just going all over the place, and there's no question about it. Ego kind of bump heads with you for a while, and it takes a while for you to train ego or partner enough with ego. I'm going to say train ego, partner enough with ego to help ego understand that you can be pals, you can be good, but just once you just kind of simmer a little bit. Another sign that you have a quiet ego is you believe that life is a continuous process. There's no on and off and it's always something about learning and everything. No matter what you already know, there's something more to know about it. Ego would have you know that you believe that you are the expert. You've been to school, you got your degrees, you got your master's, your PhD, you got all those degrees. You the expert. They don't need to be asking you the questions. No, you don't need to be asking. But ego, a quiet ego, will sit and listen and help and watch you just soak up more and more information, get fatter and fatter with information. And ego sometimes don't like that. Okay. But once you train ego and you have a quiet ego will allow you to do that. Another sign that you have a quiet ego, or another sign or another virtue of a quiet ego, is before criticizing, you try to imagine how the other person is feeling or put yourself in the other man's shoes or the other person's shoes or the other person's seat. You try to see it from a different perspective. Ego would have you believe they got their view and you got yours, and ego will be adamant about that, and jump up and down. And when you don't have a quiet ego, ego's gonna make it known that you ain't gotta ask them nothing. You got your view, they got theirs, and I guarantee yours is better than that's ego. Yeah, that's ego. And the last thing I want to say, if you have a quiet ego, you welcome the perspectives. You welcome the perspectives, even though they may challenge what you already know. That doesn't bother you. You're not threatened by the challenges of other people's perspectives and their viewpoints and their ideas. You're curious about them. You're curious about them. Now, you don't have to, you want to give some ego some credit. You don't have to adopt their perspective. You don't have to change a thing if you don't want to, but you're curious enough to hear it out. And you might go home at night and you might just kind of think about it and you might try it out and see how it fits you. If you like it, fine. If not, well, go back to being what you were. That's okay. But it's not a threat to you. And you don't feel like you have to defend who you are. And you don't feel like you have to attack who they are. So that's a quiet ego for you. All right. So how do you get back to that? How do you get back to a quiet ego or that beginner's mind? Because that if you have a beginner's mind, these are some of the attributes you have, and ego is very quiet in that perspective of that quiet mind, being back to that quiet mind. So how do you restore? So tonight I've got 5 ways that I'm going to give you to restore, or that you can cultivate a beginner's mind, how you can develop that beginner's mind, bring it back, restore it, because it's there. If you had a beginner's mind, and you did, then you can get it back. It's just a matter of understanding what it looks like and what it felt like, and how what behaved, what kind of behavior it demonstrated or exemplified. So here are five ways that will help you restore or develop that beginner's mind to bring it back to you. Now, your mind can play tricks on you and stress you out by coming up with all kinds of stories, because it's what we do. We can create, we have an imagination, we can think, and we can reason, and we have that intellect. We have all of that stuff going for us. And it was there, that the capacity of all of that was there in the beginning, but we did not have the references that we have after living so many years that we did at that beginner's mind, that big beginner's point. But as soon as we start making stories and realizing, things were going on, and patterns were happening, we started, that intellect start kind of, reasoning with that, and observing that, and maintaining and storing that information to use later. And consequently, that's when ego found his chance, found his chance to come in. So your mind can play tricks on you, and it can stress you out. You can get very stressful. I have to really ground myself, and go into a quiet place. Sometimes during the day I have to stop it, because I'm an air sign, and I tell you that those thoughts just go. They come, they come, they come, they come. So I have to learn how to breathe, and I have to learn how to, slow them down, and see kind of between the, stop them for a little bit, just kind of slow them down. To, just observe them and slow them down. But anyway, so these stories can attempt to give you reasons uh, for why things happen. The stories that we can come up with reasons why this is happening or that is happening, just from our intellect, and in our memories, and our reasoning and our logic. We can do that. This can lead us to jump to conclusions too, because we don't always have the answer, because sometimes the answer has not even revealed itself yet. So only thing we have is in our intellect is the capacity to remember or recall historical events. Now we have an imagination that we can go out into the future and imagine things that are not yet. But again, we're only restricted because we can only, have one track of a reasoning at one time, right? But all of those opportunities and all those possibilities are spread out somewhere out in the universe, and is available to us. So when we jump to conclusions with the limited access that we have to information, no matter how smart we are and how much we can remember, we still don't know it all, or don't have access to it all in our limited capacity, all by ourselves, not connected to source, just on our own. We can only reason so much. We gotta run out. Anyway, if someone you care about doesn't show up, for instance, you're having a party, a dinner party or whatever, and that person, they don't show up for the dinner. It could be easy to think that they were upset with you, or they found something better to do, or they heard that you were cooking instead of, your cook or your chef. So they're like, hey, she can't cook, and I'm just not, I'm not taking my chances tonight. I'm not going. So you can come up with all kind of reasons why that person didn't show up. But it could, but so, and you could be all upset. It could really frost your day, mess your dinner party up. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, that they were blowing you off or thinking something else. It could have been that they were sick. They were sick, and they were just so down that they weren't able to get to you, or an emergency. They had to go to to the hospital or whatever. All kind of crazy things happen, right? So instead of torturing ourselves with assumptions based on past experiences, think that we remember or come up within our own thoughts, see things as they we learn to see things as they really are, not as what our mind is telling us, right? So that's a little trick on that. When we make assumptions about anything, we're not going on reality. We're going on just we made on a story that we made up our own selves because of a history of what we know already know. Questions questions every assumption, question every assumption that pops into your head and look at it from several angles instead of one. Look at it from the worst possible scenario to the least, to the to whatever. Make sure you get a what if you're going to do that, if you're going to use assumptions, don't stop at one or two. And then be even wiser. Don't start formulating your attitude and your disposition and your whatever as a result of whatever you come up with, because could possibly be wrong. So you should just lay it on the table until you find out why, until you find out the real answer, rather than come conjuring up your own and thinking about it. So, the very first thing I wanted to say is, let me get the page here. The number one thing is don't jump to conclusions. Basically, use that. Always be open. Always be open to asking. Just don't jump to conclusions. You know, be curious. Don't form a final disposition or a final say so until you know the facts. All right. So don't jump to conclusions. That's number one. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Do not jump to conclusions and don't make assumptions. Start by questioning the assumption that you're having. Whatever pops in your head, question it. And then question the next one. But don't stop there. Don't stop and get all angry with them and, ready to tell them off because the ego's probably talking to you about them. But, just, calm me, go down. I know, they didn't show up and I got all this food here. And I know, for me, I know it's kind of bummed out. But you know what? I know that, the homeless people down the street, they need it. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to wrap all this up and drop it off over to them. And then I'm going to call and find out what happened to Jane and Jane and Paul. What happened to them? Why didn't they show up? I'm going to find out. I'm going to ask. Right. Number two, take inspiration from children. One of the things that I am so proud to say that I had the opportunity to do is work with kids. I taught school a little bit. I love the preschool, those kindergarten. And even as a teenager, I think one of my first jobs was working as a helper with the Head Start program, where I got the opportunity to work with the little, the small, the wee ones, I call them. So get inspiration from children. Watch children, watch them play, watch them interact with each other. Listen to how they interact with you. Answer their questions. See how excited they are about everything and how inquisitive they are about everything and how they view everything and how they react to you when you come home at the end of a day. Remember that and imitate that. So take inspiration, be inspired by your children. If you don't have kids, volunteer to child care, work in your church nursery or whatever. Be around children. Let them inspire you. Let them inspire you and watch how they approach everything with new eyes. Absolutely everything. You can see them picking up things and looking at them. I went back through some pictures today, and I was found some pictures of my grandson when he was a little tot, preschooler, and it was so cute because I piled them all together and I sent them all to him. I sent him to text him to him, and he come back. He's, who is this, Grandma? Who is this? That's you, boy. This man. It's you when you were little. And he thought it was so funny. And one of the pictures, he was actually looking, he was having a conversation with the horse. He says, "Do you still have that horse, Grandma?" I says, "We never had a horse, baby. we were at a carnival and we were talking to Mr. Eddie at the carnival. It wasn't our horse." But be inspired by children. Be inspired. Children are never Remember, children are never done learning. They learn constantly. They learn and they learn and they learn more about it and they learn more about it and they learn more about it and they more about it. I was starting. My daughter was just giving me information. She homeschools the boy, and she was giving me information. She says, "I just want to." Just let him explore everything. Just let him explore everything. That's what I'll let you do. Let him explore everything. Just keep him safe and let them explore. They never stop learning, and you shouldn't either. So take that inspiration from the children. The third thing that you can do to cultivate and to develop and restore that beginner's mind is you can slow down. Slow down. We do absolutely everything too fast, too quickly, without thought, remotely. Slow your roll. Slow your roll. Slow down. Get up in the morning, sit there for a minute and just enjoy the sounds of the morning birds chirping, or the sound of the coffee percolating in the kitchen, or the sound of the kids rustling off and getting ready. Sit there just for a few minutes longer to just enjoy it. Everything. I'm just gonna challenge you. Absolutely everything you do. Just take one day or one morning, one evening, whenever, just a segment out of a day, and stop and deliberately do and pay attention to what you're doing and see if you're just doing it remotely, you're doing it without thinking, we're doing it unconsciously. A lot of times we are. We're just so quick about it. We just, and we stop and we think, wow, what did I do? What happened? What's going on? Yeah. Slow down. When you know how to do something, it's easy. It's so easy to fall into autopilot when you know how to do it. But if you act like this is the first time you're doing it, take your time. Take your time when you getting the coffee ready for the pot. Like you get the box out and you're getting the filters, and you're getting the spoon and the little scoop in your coffee, doing the coffee, and you probably don't even count the scoops. You know how many scoops you're supposed to put in there, so you just automatically do it every day. Stop. Read the carton. Okay. And then count, just slowly do things. When you're taking your shower, slowly be attentive to your body and just slowly enjoy the water. Enjoy, just that time that you've got that quiet time in the shower. Hum to yourself, sing to yourself, check out the soap, what does it smell like? Like you like me. I was taking a shower the other day, and I said, I buy every time I go to a carnival. I love homemade soaps, so I've got all these soaps, and I always forget to get a new bar before I go in the shower. And I'm in the shower thinking, I should have got that coconut bar that I was in. So just try something different. Try it different and slow it down. Slow it down. Be aware. Try to be aware of what you're doing, what you're experiencing. Learn to appreciate what you're experiencing. Just take your time. Take your time. Number four thing, remove the word. Get this one. It's gonna be hard. This one's hard for me. I'm working on this one every day. I start good. Start all over again. Remove the word should from your vocabulary. Yeah, should. You should do that. Remove the word should. I also remove the word or the phrase "you need to." All right. My daughter politely told me one day, "Mom, I really, really, really wish that you would stop saying to me what I need to do." She says, "You just say that." She says, "Do you?" And I do it. I did it remotely. I did it just out of remotely. Wasn't thinking that I was doing it, but I need you. You need to, and I should. Those are two phrases that I am working very diligently to remove from my vocabulary. What should happen is based on what you perceive, what you already have calculated, what you have already decided, what you have already expected. That's what a should is. A should is expectations. A should is preconceived notions. A should is something that you decided up front. That's the way it's going to be. Should. So remove should from your vocabulary. Instead, let go of the outcome. All right? Let go of the outcome. And of your beliefs about what you think would happen or you believe would happen. Let it go. Now, I'm not saying that you don't believe that the best is going to happen or that these wonderful things are not going to come to you. You believe that. You believe in the wonderful things. You believe in the goodness. You believe in the goodness of God. You believe in the grace and the mercy of God. But how it comes to you, how it's brought to you, how it's that end result is, leave that to the source. Leave that to the powers to be. Leave that to who knows what's best for all concerned. So take should out. Take should out and take you need to out. Okay, those two. Instead, again, let go of the outcome and of the belief about what should happen or how something should happen. Let the world surprise you. Be surprised. Be surprised. But know how you want to feel. Know how you want to feel. That's what I tell. I try to get myself into the mode or into the idea, the concept of joy and happiness and satisfaction and how that's going to feel, whatever the end will be. That's what I'm after. I'm chasing the feelings rather than chasing the object of that feeling, because the object of that feeling is much more fleeting than the feeling, because once I attain whatever that object is, it's old. And then and then what am I going to do with the feeling? The feeling's going to get old. That's going to, so I chase the feeling. So let the world surprise you, because the world has many, 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 many more possibilities, many, many, many more options and opportunities than you and I could ever, in all of the years of our life, could come up with, right? So let's surprise you. Number 5, put your ego on the back burner, all right? I should have put that up front, but ego wouldn't let me do that, okay? But it's in the top 5, okay? Put your ego on the back burner. Or, be, for me, like I do, I just invite ego to take a break, take a vacation. Let me handle this. I got this. Let me handle it. I'll let you know if I need your help. I'll let you know. Just, just take a time, take a time, take some time, take a breath, as we're breathing. You breathe too, ego. Nichols, be really quiet. Just sit there and watch me, No, stop. No, let's just take a break. If you are an expert at anything, if you feel like you got it all, I got this, I got it all. When you say that, you probably want to be recognized for it. That's what ego wants. Ego wants some pats on the backs and some high fives, and he wants some brownie points, and he wants some stickers. Okay. But you don't really need that. No, you don't really need that, because that is temporary, and at best, it's not going to last for any given time. So what you want is, you want to know what else is there about this. All right. I want to bite my tongue sometimes when I think of, I really want to be an expert at that. No, I don't. I want to be the best that I can at that. But if I strive to be an expert, I don't want to just stop there, because I know that thing is evolving, it's changing, it's going to be something different. Probably the next time I pick it up, and next time I use it, or next time I attend it or go there, it's going to be different. So I want to be able to, in my opinion, an expert is that person who is smart enough to know that there's more to this than I could ever get at any given time. All right. So don't be such an expert. Don't be such an expert. A beginner is almost never right. And as a result, they enjoy learning new experiences. Being right is not something that they strive for. Understanding is what they strive for. Understanding and knowing more about it is what they strive for. And a beginner understands that when they pick up something, there is something about it that they don't know. And something is what they want to know. They want to find out. I remember something that my grandmother said, is that you should learn something every day. And somebody was asking me, one of my clients, well, how do you learn something every day? When you've been on this job for 40 years, what else is there? Trust me, every day is a new day. That job has evolved. You have evolved. You can do things faster than you did before. So guess what? You can do, you can add something to it or figure something else out. Look at it with new eyes, with fresh eyes. And I promise you, you'll see a different opportunity, a different perspective, a different attribute about it, a characteristic about it, something that you didn't realize it could do. It's doing, just beginners. A beginner is almost never right, but a beginner always, always, always learn and seek something new and something more. They challenge themselves in that. Every day to find something new, to understand and learn something new. We were taught your day's not complete unless you learn something that you didn't know yesterday. And it doesn't matter if you're 7, 10, 15, 22, 52, 62, 82. If you've got breath, you're still breathing, you wake up and you open your eyes, there's something that you didn't know yesterday that you could find out today. It's always, always. We learn, we keep growing. We learn, we keep living. Right? So a final tip here is approach a situation by identifying your expectations first. Then question those expectations. All right? That's something to really think about. If we have an expectation, question it. Yeah. Does it get any better than that? Yes, it does. Even if you just have to ask that, even if you have that expectation, and we're sold on expectation. It's going to be a while before we can, get to that beginner's mind with that no expectations, because we have things that we have an outcome, we have goals that we set, and we've got to to get out of that mindset. We have to question those goals. I promise you that if we set a goal, we could set that goal a little higher, and every day it could move the bar. So approach a situation by just getting your expectations out of the way. Identify what they are. I expect blah blah blah, and then question it. Could that be better? Should I do it differently? Could I raise that a little bit? Don't download it. Don't downgrade it. Expect that and then some. Because whatever your expectations are, I promise you there's something even greater and more about it. All right? So that. Those are the five things that I want to and I'll just go back up them really quickly. Put your ego on the back burner. Give your ego a break. Put ego on the shelf for a while. And tell ego take a breather. Just put him on pause. Okay. Remove the word should and you need to. That phrase, you need to and should. Remove those from your vocabulary. You don't need to. You don't need that. That's not something that you need to worry about. We're not going to live. We're not going to start our day or our day out with all these wonderful expectations. We're just gonna get through 8 hours. Well, know what's gonna happen in those 8 hours. Allow the world to surprise you. Let the world surprise you. Don't start with what should be, and those expectations, those preconceived ideas. No, let those go. Slow down. Take your time. Let yourself enjoy. Take you off of autopilot. take you off of autopilot. When you drive to work, something that I try to do when I go to the grocery store, I I try to take a different route or different start my shopping off in a different way every time I go. I used to get in that go in my get my grocery cart and go through the produce first and get the no, I zigzag all over that place now. And it's, you know what, it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun. And I noticed too, the stores got smart to that because what they do is they rearrange the stores anyway now. They've been doing that like, oh my goodness, what's going on? So you can't just take your time, slow down and take inspiration. Allow children to inspire you. Allow children to inspire you. And finally, don't jump to conclusions. Don't allow yourself to settle in with assumptions. Know the difference between hearing the truth of the fact and reality rather than what you've come up with, the assumptions. Do not allow assumptions don't make final decisions based on an assumption. Understand that. All right. That is all I have for tonight. And I hope you got something out of that. And I hope that you understand and realize that you can restore, you can redevelop, you can revive your beginner's mind. And you're going to need ego's help to do that, because you're going to have to have ego submit to being quiet, to being more, to understanding that a quiet ego is a very useful and helpful ego. Going to have to help ego to understand that, and it's going to take some practice. It's not something that you can do overnight. You have to do this with practice. You have to practice opening your eyes fresh and new every morning. You have to practice walking into the same old building every day and seeing it brand spanking new. You have to sit down at the same dinner table every night with the same people around it and look at them as if they were strangers that you're just gracious and happy and blessed to have the opportunity to express love and to receive love from. So that's what I have for you tonight. And next week we're going to go back, talk a little bit more about ego. We're going to kind of talk about that, some of the things that you can do to help quiet ego. We're going to talk about those things, and they're going to kind of get into a little bit of mindfulness, because that's another way we teach ego how to be mindful as well. So giving ego an assurance. So we're going to talk a little bit more next week. We're going to go back to talk about ego as that creative part of us, and how ego actually helps us be powerful and masters at manifesting our lives, and how being a partner with ego and not an enemy of an ego, or trying to control or whatever ego, because it's not a matter of controlling. It's a matter of managing and partnering and cooperating with that self, because that self is it's a very useful and powerful part of our creativity. We're going to talk a little bit more about that on the next few sessions. So until next week, thanks for joining me. Thanks for being a part of the Conscious Creators family, being conscious, awakening, and aware. Continue to be, and always, always, always know who, what, and whose you are. Act accordingly, and manifest best. Remember that I love you because God loves you, and you are loved. You are the beloved. So take care, and I'll see you next week. Good night.